single day with that vision for the last 6 years. And now he's able to carry that vision out, and he's doing it.
You guys seem to be in a favorable position here, knowing that there are many teams that want some of the players, but that strategically you might not have to move them just because this is a winter meeting. You're in a position where you can wait for other teams to make moves and then maybe strike. What are your thoughts about the position the White Sox are in to get better by trading players maybe at the right time?
I think we're in a great spot. We got some players that are really talented, and then we're not going to just move them to move them. It has to make sense. These guys have proven it at the major league level, and if it makes sense for us, and Chris and his staff will pull the trigger. If it doesn't, then we'll wait for the right time. But being able to have those players as a part of our organization and have those options is something that we're always exploring to make us better. Not just make us better now for 24, but make us better, for 24 and beyond.
Should see these players be surprised that they might be out there on the market?
I don't think so. I think Chris set the tone early. He said everybody's available, right? And as it should with everybody. That's just the way the game is. If there's an opportunity to make an organization better, you always got to look into it. But like I said, these guys are White Sox right now, and they're talented. And our job is, my job and our staff's job is to get that talent to perform on the field and execute.
Chris said at the GM meetings he wants his team to be more well-rounded. Do you see that as kind of the main priority? Is that what you guys are kind of trying to accomplish with everything that gets done this winter?
You know what? One of the things I learned last year is that we played a game that doesn't win in the big leagues. We need to play faster. We need to be more athletic. We got to catch a baseball, and we got to do things a little better fundamentally. And when we talk about getting more rounded, that's what it's about. Being able to bring in Nicky Lopez and Paul DeYoung, and what those guys can do defensively. And obviously, we're not done. It's the type of game that wins games at the major league level. You got to play fundamental baseball to be able to, to compete at that level, and that's what we're trying to do. Consistency. I like what he brings to the table every single day. You get a shortstop out there that he's going to be fundamentally sound, and he's going to lead. And the same thing with Nicky. Being able to acquire Nicky. Nicky can play second base, play above average second base, and move over to shortstop, and give Paul a day, and obviously don't forget about Colson Montgomery, who's knocking on the door, and so there's some good things happening. And the off season's early. It's early still. So Chris and his staff are exploring everything to make us better. Like I said, not just in 24, but beyond.
I don't know if this is more of a question for Chris, but in that situation, how do you see who your catcher is right now, or is that just to be determined?
I think it's to be determined. I think there's a lot to be determined. And things are coming together, but they're coming together slowly. And I think that's the way to do it. I don't think you rush into anything. Like I said, we have talented players, and I think that every deal that's made has to fit for us now and the future. And so there's a lot of unknowns still, in this club. There's a lot of unknowns in the rotation, behind the plate. So that's something that's going to take a little bit of time. It might take all the way to spring training. Who knows? But I'm confident in my conversations with Chris in the front office that we're going to get this right.
So, Bannister and Barfield come in with really good reputations. Do you think those roles have a bigger impact on an organization than when you were first starting the game? Roles that are not in uniform.
Absolutely. I've had a chance to listen to Bannister now a couple of times. He's a difference maker. There's no doubt about it. And so is Barfield. These guys are difference makers. And, just listening to their ideas and the way they see things, it's a breath of fresh air, because these guys are really creative, and they're always finding little ways to make us better. And sometimes that's what you need as an organization. You need the big fish, obviously, but you also need to support the big fish with creativity. And these guys bring it. I've been really impressed with our front office.
You keep saying these moves need to be good fits for the White Sox. How important is fit, not just from what you're trying to do on the field, but kind of with that identity that Chris is trying to use?
You know what Chris brought in? We had a meeting in, I think it was November, and we talked about culture and what we want to look like. And he's got 3 pillars, and they're professionalism, trust, and execution. And everything falls into one of those 3. And it might seem simple, but it's really hard. It's really hard to do. We're looking for professionals, to trust the process and execute on the field. It sounds simple, but it's not. Because professionalism is a big word, and there's a lot to it. And obviously, trusting the process sometimes is really hard, because it might make you uncomfortable as a player, but you got to trust the process. And obviously, execution at the major league level is one of the hardest things to do. So I believe in simplicity. I love that message. You're going to hear that message a ton. That's what we're about. That's what we're going to be about moving forward. And like I said, it sounds simple, but it's not.
With the changes that already have and are going to be made, do you expect that aspect to be a lot different and a lot better for next year's team than it was in 23?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Pedro, what have you learned about yourself over the last year and about your position? And what advice would you give a guy like Joe Espada or Carlos Mendoza as they go into their rookie managerial season?
That's a really good question. Off the field, and what I mean by off the field, in the dugout, in the clubhouse, I learned how to manage through adversity. And there's a lot of things that come up during the major league season that, even with me and my experience and the jobs that I've held, there's things that come up that you haven't experienced before. So no matter who you are and what you've done in the game, you're still going to run into situations where you probably haven't faced before. I think the most important part is understanding that you're going to run into some adversity, to stay calm, use your resources, use your coaches, use your front office, and just find ways to improve every single day. On the field, I think I started it off here by saying that we just got to play a different style of baseball. We got to play fast. If you're not playing fast baseball in the big leagues, you're not going to have success. I mean, if you look at the teams that were, in the playoffs, and you look at Arizona, and I said this when we played Arizona in September. These guys are a handful. And it reminded me of, our teams in Kansas City. Where they just play fast. They make plays. They do whatever it takes to, to win a baseball game. And they were a handful in the playoffs. And that's the style of baseball that we want to play and that we need to play to turn this thing around.
Obviously still some unknowns on that front, with roster and everything, but are you guys going to have a team? Do you have players currently that can play that style?
We're on the hunt for those type of players, and that's what we're looking for. We spent a lot of time on, makeup and how players fit into the system that we are implementing right now. There's some players in the minor leagues that definitely fit into this. And there's other ones that we think we can develop to fit into this. And there's players out there that we feel that, if we acquire them, they fit into this style of play, into these 3 pillars that we believe in. So we are on the hunt for that style of player, and I'm confident we're going to get this done.
What did you learn about your own leadership ability going through that topsy-turvy season that you had last year, and what were some of the great challenges for you?
Like I said, I learned a lot. Some of it I can't and won't talk about it here. and there are other things that that I learned that I can share. And you know, a lot of this job doesn't pertain to baseball. You know, it just pertains to management. You know, managing a clubhouse and managing the chemistry. Chemistry is real. It's real, and you know, some people don't believe in it. I believe in it. You know, you got to get 26 guys that are fighting for each other and love each other and play for each other every single day to be able to get this thing done. And we're on our way to doing that. There's a lot that I learned, believe me, and I'll start implementing some of those things in the spring, and you'll see a difference.
You see yourself kind of operating differently, and you'll have a different group, some younger guys, fewer veterans, so the way that you go about managing that group, you see a lot of changes?
We're going to be playing different because we're going to be playing a faster game. So obviously, I'll be managing a different, different style of game, an aggressive game. But I've said this to you guys plenty of times. I'm ever evolving. I'm not going to just sit around and not really look at myself in the mirror and say, okay, I need to get better at this and that, and you know, I'm not doing that. So I've reflected a ton. There's things that I feel I could have done better, and I will be better. There's things that I feel our staff could have done better, and we will be better. And definitely, there's things that our team could have done better, and we will be better. You know, so I'm excited for spring training. I'm looking forward to the team that joins us in Camelback, and you know, you'll see a difference.
There's talk often about what kind of players you want on the team next year, as far as trades, free agents, all that.
Yeah, well, we communicate all the time, you know, and like I said, we have a really good front office. You know, there's times we'll take 2 or 3 days without, you know, talking, but you know, I know that, you know, those guys in there are constantly working to, you know, to improve in us. But we're in constant communication. We know the type of player that we want. We know the system that we are creating, and who fits in that system, and you know, we're going to stay consistent with that.
Have you watched Japanese pitchers this season? For example, Yamamoto, Imanaga.
Very little. Not enough to comment on that. I know he's extremely talented, but very, very little.
What have you learned about Jerry Reinsdorf now? His passion for the game and still being involved?
You know what? That's a great question. And coming in here, I've been lucky and grateful to develop a relationship with Jerry. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, owners in the game. He's got a passion to win. He loves the game of baseball. He's a fan and an owner as well. And his knowledge for the game is really, really good. My communication with Jerry is impeccable. You know, he believes in us and what we're trying to accomplish. I love working for him, and I love working with him. Good? Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.